All right, so we just got through 3.1, numbers 1, 3, and 5. Now we're going to do the rest of the problems here. So again, the key to this entire unit and doing well in this unit is to always factor everything that's in front of you, okay? Because then you can see all of the little things that you can simplify, that you can, make your life a lot easier than just strictly going after just the same plan every single time. So number 7, we're again going to try and simplify this as much as possible before we move on to whatever steps we need to do afterwards. So factor it first. So we have a 16 and a 64. Those are both divisible by 8. So I factor out an 8 from the 16 and the 64, and I get 8 times parentheses 2x plus 8. And it looks like you can go a little bit further than that because 2 and 8 are both divisible by 2 as well. So I guess the number I could have divided out was 16 to begin with. So let's do that instead. All right, so if I divide out a 16, if I divide out 16 here, I just have x. If I divide out 16 here, I have 4, because 16 times 4 is 64. And then it looks like, let's see here, 24 and 64 are both divisible by 8. So I can divide an 8 from this without a doubt. And I get, let's see, dividing by 8 there, I get 3, so 3x. Dividing by 8 there, I get 8, so minus 8. All right, so here's our simplified expression. So once again, to find the excluded values, take the factors in the denominator, set them equal to 0, and solve. So 8 can never be 0, so we don't have to worry about that one, but 3x minus 8 can be equal to 0, so we need to exclude that value. Add 8 to both sides, 3x cannot be equal to 8. Divide by 3, x cannot be equal to 8/3, so there's our excluded value. Now let's simplify this. So 16 and 8 are both divisible by 8, so the 8 gets canceled out there, and this becomes a 2. So our simplified expression looks like this. 2 times parentheses x plus 4 over parentheses 3x minus 8. And there's the simplified expression. All right, now let's move on to the next one, number 9. b squared minus 4, that's a difference of squares. So this factors to be b plus 2, b minus 2. Because those are numbers that multiply together to be negative 4, add together to be 0, because it's 0b technically in the middle. Next, let's factor that quadratic. So numbers that multiply together to be 14, add together to be negative 9. That's going to be negative 2 and negative 7. So in the bottom we have b minus 2 and also b minus 7. So everything's factored. Let's get our excluded values, and then let's simplify this thing. So we take the bottom factors, b minus 2 and b minus 7, say that they cannot be equal to 0, and then solve for that b value. So if we add 2 to both sides for this one, we get b cannot be equal to 2. If we add 7 to both sides, then we get b cannot be equal to 7. So those are our 2 excluded values. So b cannot be those, otherwise we get 0 in the denominator. Now let's see what cancels out from the top and the bottom. Looks like my b minus 2's will cancel out. So I just left with a b plus 2 in the top and a b minus 7 in the bottom. And that's it. That's the simplified expression right there. Okay. Number 11, so the last one, let's try and factor this one out. So we have numbers that multiply together to be negative 27 and add together to be 6. So that's going to be 9 and negative 3. So in the top, this factors to be x plus 9, x minus 3. And then in the bottom, let's see. So 3, 45, and 162 are all divisible by 3. So if I divide out 3 from each of them, I get 3 times parentheses. Let's see. If we divide out the 3 there, we get x squared. Divide out the 3 there, we get 15, so plus 15x. And divide out a 3 here, and we get 54. Yeah, 54. All right, now I'm going to try and factor this part right here. So I need numbers that multiply together to be 54, add together to be 15. So those two numbers are 6 and 9. So that means that completely factored out, this looks like this. In the top, we have x plus 9, x minus 3. And then in the bottom, we've got 3 times parentheses, and then it's going to be x plus 6, x plus 9. All right, so from here, we can find the excluded values. So we take each factor, say that they can't be equal to 0. So 3 can never be 0, so we don't have to worry about that one. But x plus 6 can't be 0. X plus 9 cannot be 0, then solve. So from this one, x can't be equal to negative 6. From this one, x can't be equal to negative 9. There's our excluded values. And now let's simplify this. So if you notice, we have an x plus 9 and an x plus 9 in the top and the bottom, so those cancel out. So what we're left with overall is the following. X minus 3 in the top, and then in the bottom we have 3 times parentheses x plus 6. And that's our simplified expression. And that's it. That's all that you need to do for number 11, and all of the odds for 3.1 are completed. So let's move on to 3.2.